Wabash, Indiana. Population just enough to know everyone's name at the grocery store. It's the kind of place where folks wave to each other even if they've never met. And life moves slower here, like a lazy river on a summer afternoon. Nobody's in a rush, and the biggest news usually involves Mrs. Peterson's prize-winning rhubarb pie. The air smells like freshly cut grass and honeysuckle. Front porches creak with the weight of rocking chairs and friendly gossip. It's a town where time takes a nap and everyone's invited to join in. Every town has its quirks, and in Wabash that quirk comes in the form of WKWB, the local radio station. Run by the ever-enthusiastic DJ Jumping Jack Jackson, WKWB is known for its eclectic mix of polka music, local news, and the occasional wacky contest. One such contest was What the Hey Wednesday. Listeners call in and win bizarre prize packages. Past prizes included a year's supply of pickled beets and a taxidermied squirrel dressed as Elvis. But this week's prize, it was about to turn Wabash upside down. Frank Miller, Wabash's resident handyman, was a man of simple pleasures. He enjoyed fixing things, whether it was a broken fence or a leaky faucet. His garage was a treasure trove of tools, each with its own story. Frank also loved sipping coffee on his porch swing, watching the world go by and listening to WKDWB, the local radio station that played his favorite oldies. Despite his contentment, Frank never won anything in his life. He had tried his luck with lottery tickets and raffles, but luck never seemed to be on his side. So when he called in on a whim and won What the Hey Wednesday, a quirky radio contest, he couldn't believe his ears. He was in utter disbelief, thinking it was a prank. The prize was a brand new riding lawnmower and, to his surprise, a live goat named Ferdinand. It was the most unusual prize he had ever heard of. Frank figured the lawnmower would be handy for his overgrown yard, which had been neglected for a while due to his busy schedule. But a goat? Well, that was a head-scratcher. He had no idea what to do with Ferdinand. "Maybe I can teach it to mow the lawn too," he chuckled to himself. The thought of a goat mowing the lawn was so absurd that it made him laugh out loud. Frank realized that sometimes life had a funny way of surprising you. The following Saturday, the lawnmower and Ferdinand arrived at Frank's doorstep. The lawnmower was shiny and red. Ferdinand, with his shaggy white fur and mischievous eyes, was already chewing on Frank's prize-winning petunias. Frank decided to leave Ferdinand tied to a tree in his backyard while he tested out his new lawnmower. He figured a few laps around the yard would give him time to figure out what to do with his unexpected farmyard friend. But Ferdinand, it seemed, had other plans. With Frank occupied, Ferdinand saw his chance. He had been eyeing the opportunity for quite some time, waiting for the perfect moment to make his move. With a tug and a twist, he broke free from his rope. The feeling of freedom was exhilarating, and Ferdinand couldn't help but let out a joyful bleat as he made his escape. He trotted down Main Street like he owned the place. His hooves clacked against the pavement, drawing the attention of curious onlookers who couldn't believe their eyes. He sampled Mrs. Johnson's prize-winning roses, savoring each delicate petal. The vibrant colors and sweet scent were too tempting to resist, and even popped into the library for a quick browse, though he mostly ate the bookmarks. The quiet atmosphere of the library was a stark contrast to the chaos he was causing outside. Frank, meanwhile, finished mowing the lawn and went looking for Ferdinand. He had no idea the adventure his goat was having. Word of a runaway goat had already spread through Wabash like wildfire. People gathered in small groups, pointing and laughing as they shared the latest sightings of Ferdinand. The climax of the chaos came when Frank found Ferdinand perched atop a police car in the town square, munching on Officer Johnson's lunch bag. The sight was both hilarious and unbelievable, a true testament to Ferdinand's adventurous spirit. Instead of anger, the sight of Ferdinand on the police car brought waves of laughter from the townspeople who had gathered. Cameras clicked, children giggled, and even Officer Johnson couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. Ferdinand, it seemed, had become an overnight celebrity. The Great Goat Caper, as it came to be known, was the talk of the town for weeks. Ferdinand's mischievous mug was plastered on the front page of the Wabash Gazette. He even got his own segment on WKWB, aptly titled Ferdinand's Farm Forecast. Life in Wabash eventually returned to its usual tranquil rhythm, but something had shifted. The air seemed lighter, and the smiles on people's faces were a bit wider. The town had found a new sense of joy and camaraderie that hadn't been there before. Ferdinand, the mischievous goat who mistook the town for his personal playground, had become a reminder that laughter and a little bit of chaos could be a good thing. His antics, from nibbling on Mrs. Thompson's prized roses to sneaking into the bakery for a taste of fresh bread, had everyone in stitches. As for Frank, he never did figure out how to teach Ferdinand to mow the lawn. Despite his best efforts, Ferdinand seemed more interested in creating his own version of lawn art, much to Frank's chagrin. But in the process, Frank learned patience and the art of letting go. But he discovered something far more valuable, a bond with his unusual pet and a renewed sense of community spirit. Ferdinand became more than just a pet. He was a symbol of the unexpected joys that life can bring. Frank found himself spending more time outdoors, chatting with neighbors who stopped by to see the famous goat. Ferdinand might have been a prize, but the real reward was the joy he brought to the hearts of everyone in Wabash. The town held a special event in his honor, celebrating the laughter and unity he had inspired. In the end, it wasn't just about a goat, it was about the simple, beautiful moments that brought a community closer together.